UK True Crime Stories. The night air was shattered not by cheers, but by the sickening thud of bricks against glass, and the guttural roar of a crowd that had turned from protest to terrifying mob. Welcome to UK True Crime Stories, Episode 8. I'm Sophie, and today we have 3 cases that will stay with you. Stay with us to the end, we'll come back to that opening story, and trust me, the truth is even stranger than it sounds. Our first story takes us to the heart of North London, to the normally bustling, vibrant community of Golders Green. It was the early hours of a Monday morning, just past 1:45 a.m., on March 23, 2026. The streets, usually alive with late-night activity, were hushed, blanketed in the quiet calm that precedes dawn. But that calm was about to be violently ripped apart. Imagine the scene: Highfield Road, a residential street, peaceful homes, and nestled amongst them, a vital hub for the local Jewish community. This wasn't just any building. It was near the Matchsike Hadath Synagogue, and crucially, it was home to the fleet of ambulances belonging to United Aid Response, a volunteer service, a lifeline, run by and for the community. These vehicles represent hope, rapid assistance, a promise of help in an emergency. At 1:45 a.m., a call came into the Metropolitan Police. Not for an ambulance, but about them. Flames. An inferno, growing rapidly. When officers arrived, the sight must have been truly shocking. For ambulances, pristine white vehicles adorned with the distinctive blue and orange star of life were engulfed. The night sky above Golders Green glowed with an eerie, orange light, painting a terrifying tableau against the sleeping neighborhood.
Sophie, 4 ambulances at once? That suggests a deliberate, targeted act, doesn't it? Not just a random fire.
Absolutely, Dan. The speed and scale of the blaze immediately pointed to something far more sinister than an accident. Eyewitnesses, those brave enough to look out, reported seeing 3 figures fleeing the scene, melting into the shadows of the early morning. And the police response was swift, and incredibly serious. This wasn't just a local incident. Counter-terrorism officers were immediately brought in to lead the investigation.
Counter-terrorism? That's a huge escalation. What made them take that step so quickly?
The context, Dan. The location, the target, and the nature of the attack. Ambulances belonging to a Jewish community service. Within hours, the Met had officially declared it an anti-Semitic hate crime. The message was clear: this was an attack designed to instill fear, to damage a community, and to disrupt a service that saves lives. The condemnation was immediate and widespread. The Prime Minister, the Mayor of London, all spoke out, denouncing the act as cowardly and hateful. For the volunteers of United Aid Response, the shock was profound. These were their vehicles, maintained with care, driven by dedicated individuals who give their time freely. To see them reduced to charred wrecks. It was a direct assault on their ability to help their neighbors. The emotional toll on the community was immense. A sense of vulnerability, of outrage, but also a fierce determination to rebuild.
So, the investigation by counter-terrorism officers, what does that involve? Are they looking for specific groups, or just the individuals responsible?
They're looking for both, Dan. While 3 individuals were reportedly seen, the question is whether they acted alone, or if they were part of a larger, organized effort. Counter-terrorism units have resources and intelligence networks designed to uncover extremist motivations and connections, which goes beyond a typical arson investigation. The forensic teams meticulously combed through the charred remains, searching for accelerants, for any clue, any fragment that could identify the perpetrators. CCTV footage from Highfield Road and surrounding areas would have been invaluable, tracing the movements of those 3 suspects before and after the attack. The community response, however, was also immediate and powerful. Messages of solidarity poured in. Offers of support to help United Aid Response get back on its feet. Because an act of hate, while devastating, often reveals the strength and resilience of those targeted, and the wider society that stands with them. The investigation continues, a relentless pursuit of those who sought to sow division and fear in the heart of London.
Stories like this one don't get told unless people are listening. If you're new here, hit subscribe. We cover real UK cases every single day, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Sophie, the next case we're looking at took investigators years to even begin to understand the full tragic scope of what happened. This next story is a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile life can be, and the devastating impact when trust in a system is shattered. It centers around a little boy named Aarav Chopra, a vibrant, 3-year-old with a whole life ahead of him. His parents, like any parents, trusted the medical professionals to care for their child. Aarav had been admitted to hospital, and as part of his treatment, biopsy was deemed necessary. It's a common procedure, designed to provide vital information to doctors. But on that day, something went terribly, tragically wrong. The procedure was being carried out by a trainee doctor. During the biopsy, Aarav's artery was pierced.
A trainee doctor, Dan, entrusted with such a delicate procedure on a child. The weight of that responsibility. It's unimaginable.
It truly is, Sophie. The immediate aftermath would have been a scene of frantic activity, of medical staff battling to save Aarav. But despite their efforts, despite the desperate fight for his life, little Aarav Chopra died. His parents were left with an unimaginable void, and the harrowing question, how could this have happened? The death of a child is always devastating, but when it occurs within a medical setting, under circumstances that raise serious questions, the grief is compounded by a desperate need for answers, for accountability. For Aarav's parents, this began a long and arduous journey through inquiries, investigations, and ultimately, a fight for justice.
It's not just about finding fault, is it? It's about understanding what systemic failures might have contributed, so that no other family has to endure such a loss.
Exactly, Sophie. The investigation would have delved deep into the specifics of that day. What was the level of supervision for the trainee doctor? Were protocols followed? Was the procedure appropriate? Was there any indication of risk that might have been overlooked? These are the questions that haunt families, and that investigators must meticulously address. It took time, but eventually, the full picture began to emerge. The hospital, after a thorough review of the incident, issued an apology. This wasn't just a casual statement, it was a formal acknowledgement of responsibility, an admission that mistakes had been made, and that Aarav's death was preventable.
An apology, while crucial, can never bring a child back. But for families, it can be a vital step towards healing, towards feeling that their child's life, and their loss, has been acknowledged.
It certainly is, Sophie. The hospital's apology would have been a profoundly difficult moment, both for the institution and for the medical staff involved. It signals a recognition of the profound impact on Aarav's family, and a commitment to learning from such a devastating error. The specifics of the apology and any subsequent actions, such as changes in training protocols or supervision, would have been part of the wider effort to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. While no legal details are public yet beyond the admission of responsibility, for Aarav's family, the hospital's apology marked a significant, albeit painful, milestone in their search for understanding and closure. It's a stark reminder that behind every medical statistic, there is a precious human life, and a family changed forever.
I never get used to these. If you've been sharing these episodes with friends, thank you. It genuinely helps more people discover the channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already.
And now, Sophie, we return to the chilling moment that opened our show today. The night that shattered the peace outside an asylum hotel.
Yes, Dan. That sickening thud of bricks against glass. It wasn't just a sound, it was the raw, terrifying symphony of fear and anger erupting onto the streets. This was an incident that truly shocked the nation, not just for the violence itself, but for what it represented.
We're talking about the violent disorder that took place outside an asylum hotel, a place meant to offer refuge, but which for a time, became a scene of terror.
Exactly. Imagine being inside that hotel. You fled unimaginable circumstances, seeking safety, perhaps with your family, only to find yourself trapped as a mob gathers outside. The shouts, the menacing presence, then the shattering of glass. It's a betrayal of the very concept of sanctuary.
The incident, which garnered significant media attention, involved a group of individuals who had gathered to protest. But what began as a protest quickly devolved into something far more dangerous.
The details that emerged from the police investigation paint a grim picture. The crowd swelled, emotions ran high, and then, individuals began to cross the line from demonstration to destruction. It was during this escalation that two men, Sean Thompson, 38, and Luke Fleming, 21, made themselves central to the chaos.
Their actions weren't merely passive participation, were they? They were actively engaged in the disorder.
Far from it, Dan. While the full court details are yet to be revealed, what we know is that both Thompson and Fleming admitted to charges of violent disorder. This isn't just being present, it implies active participation in acts that cause fear, disruption, and potentially injury or damage. The police investigation would have painstakingly reviewed hours of footage, from CCTV, from mobile phones, from bodycams, identifying individuals, piecing together their roles in the unfolding violence.
So, it wasn't just about the initial protest, but about specific acts of aggression and damage. What kind of impact did this have on the people inside the hotel?
The impact was profound, Dan. Imagine the fear, the sheer terror, of hearing the windows being smashed, the shouts, the feeling of being under siege. For people who have already experienced trauma, this kind of incident can be deeply re-traumatizing. It can be a psychological scar that takes years to heal. The damage wasn't just physical to the building, it was emotional to its residents.
And for the wider community, Sophie? Beyond the immediate victims.
It ignited a fierce debate, Dan. About protest, about public order, about compassion. It forced people to confront the line between expressing an opinion and inciting fear and violence. The swift police response and the subsequent arrests and admissions of guilt by Thompson and Fleming send a clear message. That line, once crossed, has serious consequences. Justice, in this instance, moved relatively quickly, bringing some measure of accountability for the terrifying events of that night.
That's UK True Crime Stories for today, Episode 8. These stories are inspired by real documented cases. If today's episode moved you, share it with someone who'd appreciate it. It really does make a difference. If you have information about any unsolved case, please contact Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111, anonymously, anytime. Subscribe for more true crime every day, and if you're interested in real UK money stories, debt, savings, financial freedom, check out our sister channel UK Stories.